As long-time viewers may probably guess, I'm somewhat of an animation supremacist. I believe that animation of any kind is inherently better than cinematography, and there's nothing a film can do that a similarly animated film can't do the same or even better, and judging by the fact that most popular movies these days are one actor's rights violation away from being 3D cartoons, Hollywood probably agrees with me. And with all the bright, shiny, superhero moral messaging junk being churned out by films industry, nothing makes me happier than knowing that Japan will continue doing their animated, bright, shiny junk. That being said, there are two genres in anime that the West usually does better: horror and detective stories, and for a reason, mind you. It's hard to be scared of a drawn thing that can't really hurt you for starters. The best thing you can do is either creep people out or gross people out. As for detectives, Japanese just have trouble writing them altogether. Not like they can't do it, it's just that they are more interested in the deductive reasoning or social commentary than whodunit. Spectre is a 12-episode mystery fiction anime created by Brains-based studio that tells us a story about a generic anime boy number 4567 and a disabled person shitposting a creepypasta to death. Let me explain. So the main protagonist of the story is Kotoko Iwanaga, whose job description is a mediator between humans and spirits, but as usual with job descriptions, they tell you a lot of fancy words only for you to end up explaining how computers work for geriatrics patients. Here, Kotoko's job is basically being a weird mix of a demagogue and a Wikipedia for spirits who are too lazy to get with the times. The other protagonist is Kuro Sakuragawa, whose main power is being a bullshit literal deus ex machina, a weird mix of an immortal who has to die in order to predict the future. Where have I seen that before? The biggest problem with the show is the whole mystery thing, because instead of operating on the whodunit principle, it uses what I like to call magic deduction. To illustrate, there is a ghost of a dead girl running around the city, so our heroes have to pacify it. In a detective story, the investigator would have to first gather evidence, gather witness reports, combine them together into a coherent narrative, and present it to both the perpetrator and us, the audience. A good detective is where we can see a certain string of logic in what our investigators doing. Here, they recognize the problem, gather a bit of evidence they usually already knew, create a narrative that may or may not be correct, and then do constant 90 degrees turns the second someone starts to dob them with new evidence we've never seen before, piling up into this incoherent schizophrenic mess. Call me an old-fashioned little grandma, but I usually don't expect internet troll tactics from my detectives. Oh, look at Mr. Mask with his tiny brain here. Better go look at this We Are MMO anime that has a girl in an armored bathing suit. Nice and simple, just like you like it. First of all, suck my dick. Second of all, the resulting mess is not even entertaining to watch. You'd think that the least an incoherent ramble could do is to be fun to dissect, but no, it's tedious as all hell, and a lot of times was testing my patience. With no coherent chain of logic, everything the heroes say and do turns into white noise, and once you adjust to the insanity around you, the entire thing just starts being predictable. So you've created this mystery, and even with all the assholes, you're going the most obvious direction you can take. If you stop watching the show on episode 9 and just skip to episode 12, nothing of value will be lost story-wise. You'll just skip the tedious pretentiousness of a tiny Degorachov lookalike fighting a ghost via shitposting on the internet 3-4 episodes in a row. The music and visual direction are the better parts of the anime, openings and endings especially. The music in general is a bit of a hit and miss. It's functional, but I find it hard to listen to seriously, as most of it would be more suitable in some old Final Fantasy or Legend of Zelda game than a detective story. The graphics are average for a serious anime, the design of various ghosts and demons is pretty spot on and entertaining to watch, and the human characters of the story are nicely written, and you can even believe in their interactions with each other, time skips notwithstanding. So in conclusion, Spectre is Bakemonogatari without the wit, boogie pop without philosophy, and so on. There's little reason to watch it outside of its novelty value, and even that is debatable. The most polite way for me to describe it would probably be with the sentence, "There's probably a market for it," but that's a pretty shitty way to describe it. Well, I suppose watching this is less repulsive than crush fetish videos.